Hi, everyone. I just want to take a minute and talk a little bit about the chambers of light and some of the everyday things that you can experience when after receiving them, and what exactly a description, anyways, of what expansion of consciousness is. So, for example, consciousness is everything. Everything is consciousness. Everything is light. You yourself, you're a conscious being. You are light. That is what you. That's what you are made from. You are light. So expansion of consciousness is expansion of the being. It's expansion of you. Expansion of you everywhere. And how does that happen? Is what are the things that are constricting you from expanding? So do you have limiting belief patterns surrounding, life issues? Pick various life issues that you may have a sore spot with, a negative kind of interaction with. That would be a limiting belief pattern. So what the chambers can do, and any forms of healings really, they all have different applications and can affect you differently. So with the chambers, what they do is they expand your consciousness. So if you look at the chambers, they are all geometric forms. So like, say for example, the tesseract or the star tetrahedron, or you'll know that better as Merkaba, which is your light body. It's the same shape. You are made from these shapes. Like, creation itself is made from sacred geometry. So the chambers are the very building blocks of creation, and you are being put into that. So that can affect the way you yourself are created and have a beneficial effect and unfoldment on you. So, for example, expansion of consciousness is also your light quotient for those who are into ascension, like you as a being, your individual personal ascension. What it does, or what they do, I should say, is they expand your consciousness, they expand your light by removing the things that are constricting you from expanding. They also give you because they are made from sacred geometry and you are made from sacred geometry, they work with your geometries that you are, and they recalibrate those geometries. And when those geometries of who you are recalibrated, it filters down through the various dimensional levels and then has an effect on you from physically out through all the layers of dimensions. So some examples of how that can be experienced in everyday life. For example, heightened awareness of, say, other dimensions or realities, or or interactions with higher consciousness. So that could be, for myself, if I go back in time, 5 years ago or whatever, and I think about the way I grasped the concept of angels or Elohim or ascended masters or whatever, and then fast forward to now, my grasp of, say, working with an ascended master or various beings, is completely different. So now it's like a normal everyday thing, like that veil, that separation is far less than what it was, say, years ago. I can more deeply grasp the concept, and my awareness of it is so much more clearer. So clearer awareness of interacting with higher levels of consciousness or various beings. So like now, the idea of working with a master is like the idea of working with somebody physically. The masters just don't have a physical body. It's the only difference. Now, obviously, you got to interact a little bit differently, but just me sitting here speaking, I know they can hear me speak. So if I were to call on a master, I just have to think or speak, and that goes the same for everybody. And I know that they're hearing me, they're feeling my energy, they're feeling my thoughts. etc., etc. So that concept has expanded and become more deeply rooted as my consciousness has expanded. Now, that's just one example. Another example could be, say, in your day-to-day life. So as you as a being expands, your not only your mind, but like your heart expands, and you expand out into the universe around you, into the space around you. And let's say you have a limiting belief pattern, or you feel, say a little insecure or nervousness, or you just have like an energetic imbalance. You just don't feel quite right or quite rooted or grounded. So if you were to clear that, then how would you go through life? How would you experience your day-to-day life? So much more grounded and rooted, so much more empowered, so much more, say, courageous to take certain steps in life. Let's say your interactions with people, because you've expanded your consciousness, and your mind and your heart has expanded, and you're more rooted and grounded, for example, in just in life itself. Let's just say that your interactions with people are more deeper and meaningful, and let's say you've developed an easier way of connecting with people and understanding people, places, and things, whatever it is that you're interacting with in your day-to-day life. Let's say that you've become more relatable. You can more easily connect with somebody and have a deeper understanding of the things that they're talking about. You can connect with them, not just from a mind space, like a mental space. You can connect better on an emotional level, on a heart level, and you can understand them better. Another example would be, let's say, I've talked about DNA activation. So your DNA is like your connection to source. It's your connection with you as a being, your gifts and your abilities. And the more you unlock that, the more you're unlocking the being that is you. So, for example, with myself, the work that I do, say with resin art, organizing, and even my healing abilities, go back a few years ago and then compare now to then, that's very much different. I've got a deeper grasp on the things that I'm doing, and that will come also with experience. But the more I've worked with it, because I've expanded as a being, my heart has expanded, my mind has expanded, my energetic being has expanded. It's allowed me to grasp things that I'm working with so much more and so much deeper, and it's allowed the things that I work with to come through clearer. So like if you're a healer, or you do any kind of channeling work like that, by removing the things that are constricting you, it's going to allow your gifts to come forward more. So I've had some people who take the chambers, and like immediately afterwards, they notice a very noticeable shift with their gifts and abilities. So you could look at that as expansion of your gifts, of your abilities, of your natural talents. Now, those are just a few examples. By all means, if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Absolutely. Either comment on the video below or shoot me an email or something. If you need deeper clarifications on things, I'm a message away. Please ask. So really what they do is that they take you as a being, your light quotient, and they expand your light quotient. And they remove the things that are constricting, or they loosen up the things that are constricting, so you can more easily clear. And that's another thing that I find people maybe they don't quite understand, or they underestimate. But there's so many people out there going through life with various patterns, and they just get into that loop. They're trying to work, but they're just stuck. So think of having an energetic healing or a chamber as taking that, hey, instead of chasing your tail and being stuck on this loop, on this record that just keeps playing, we're going to fix that and allow whatever it is that's keeping you stuck here, and removing that. So this way you can clear that You can experience the lessons, learn the lessons, grasp the lessons, which is another thing that I've noticed. I'm able to grasp things so much more easier as my consciousness has expanded. I'm able to grasp things so much more clearer. So it brings clarity to your thoughts, your mind, your emotions, your energetic feels, because you are an energetic being experiencing life, not just mentally, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically on so many levels. Whether you realize it or not, you're experiencing life on many, many levels. And for myself, anyways, I've talked to a few other people, their way of interacting with the world energetically has greatly expanded as well and changed, and there's more fluidity to it. There's more cohesiveness. There's more kind of like Jedi master type stuff going on, where they just feel so much more connected to the world around them. So by removing those things that constrict you and getting out of that loop, it allows you to expand and overcome. And that's really what things are about. It's about learning your lessons and expanding and moving forward. So those are a few examples of how they can help you in everyday life. And to give you another explanation on what the chambers are exactly, and this is another area that expansion of consciousness allows you to grasp concepts better. So, for example, those who are aware of the torus technique and forming a torus, a group torus, think of the chambers as the same thing. I think a bunch of people just went, aha. So it's the same thing. So the torus technique, the group torus technique, when you use many people on a group torus and then they facilitate an action, that is consciousness technology. You are creating that group torus with your consciousness, with your energy, with your being. And then you're facilitating from there. So the chambers are the same way. So if you were to sit and visualize, say, a star tetrahedron, a Merkaba, your Merkaba, let's say, for example, you can manifest that energy to your level of ascension, to your level of energetic vibration, which is another thing the chambers do. They raise your energetic vibration. So if you were to visualize that Merkaba chamber around you, you're manifesting that to your level of energetic consciousness. So now with the chambers that I facilitate for people, the masters are creating the chamber to their level of ascension, to their level of energetic vibration, and they are bringing you within that. And then from there, the recalibration takes place. And then it filters through all the dimensional layers. And dimensions are also consciousness. Like everything is consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Everything is light. If you want to know the universe and its secrets, you study sacred geometry. If you want to know the universe and source, study sacred geometry. I'm telling you, there's nothing else that will give you a more clear explanation, a measurement of source, of you and the universe in sacred geometry. And that is what we are created from. We are created from sacred geometry. Everything is sacred geometry. So you're being put into a chamber created to the level of ascension, the level of light, the level of vibration that the masters exist at. And you are being brought into that to facilitate and to experience that level of light and how that's going to affect you, and then the unfoldment afterwards.